Okay, good morning. Welcome to another session for the newly elected. We really appreciate you logging in and seeing us this morning. This morning, the topic is basically Gateway how-to. If you remember, we discussed back in December the overview to Gateway, what it is, why you're doing it, what you upload. But we kind of did it as an overall for the whole county. And so this session itself is just for the treasurers, the newly elected treasurers. And so we're going to go into detail about how you do it, walk you through that process, what actually needs to be uploaded, and some examples of that moving forward. I did put a packet, which I'm going to put in the chat box right now. I did put a link to the packet in the chat box right now, so if you didn't get it, you can go there. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen. This is really going to be a walkthrough. So I made this so that you would have something in your hand if you had a question about how to do something. There are screenshots throughout this presentation that's in the packet, things like that. You can also use some other sources that we're going to go over. But I thought it would be more beneficial to actually walk you through the process instead of just showing you the PowerPoint presentation. So again, this is going to be recorded and it will be put up on the website at the end of the week, so you can go back and review it if you need additional guidance. Okay, so to get started here, I kind of want to take us back to 2018, which I know is before you were in office, but the state examiner issued a directive in 2018, which is what required these monthly and annual uploads. This requirement is really, it helps to facilitate our remote auditing that we have now obviously been pushed into because of COVID. We were kind of leaning towards a little bit that way, and this really kind of made us kind of just jump full in. So we had started having treasurers upload things. In September of this year, we kind of took a look at that again since we are doing mainly remote auditing at this point. And we had a conversation with field examiners. We worked with some other staff members in our office of what could be beneficial to them, what they really need, and then kind of worked on bridging that gap between the field and the officials. And so with all of that, we issued a amended directive. So you can find this on our website. And we added a few things that the field thinks would be beneficial in helping them with the audit. So just to that's just a history of it to let you know where this kind of all came from. And so we're going to get started with how do you actually do it. Let's save that. So hopefully you're seeing my screen. Laura, you should be seeing yourself. Do you see yourself?
No, see a black thing that says starting to start. Now we see the website.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So I don't know if any of you have had a chance to take a look at the Gateway website. Here it is up on my screen. If you have not already, you need to get your access set up. In order to get your access set up on Gateway, you need to email the Gateway Help Desk. And this is gateway@sboa.in.gov. It's in your packet. You need to email that address. You need to give them your name, the position that you were elected to, so for treasurer, and the unit name, and what your first day of term is. Along with that information, you also need to give the prior official's name, their last day of term, and if you know their email address, that's really helpful and beneficial too. They will work on getting you the information to get you access, and they'll send you your username and your password. Okay, so we're going to assume that you've done that. You have access into Gateway. So now what we want to do is show you how to actually log in, where you need to go, and how you need to do it. So if you go to the Gateway website, and again, this is in that packet, it should look like this that you see in front of you, this main screen. This right here is how you could search the public side of Gateway. If you remember in the overview, we talked about some information that is put up is on the public side, meaning citizens can go and search up your annual financial reports and things like that. What you are going to be uploading, the monthly and annual uploads, are not on the public side. So these are not available to the public. These are just put up for SBOA to look at during the audit, okay? So to log in, you're going to click up here with this little padlock. It says local officials log in here. So if you click that, it's going to take you to the login page. This is where you will put in your username and password. I do want to pause for just a second and let you know that Gateway itself works better in Firefox or Chrome. I prefer Chrome. I do almost everything in it. But if you're using any other browsers, you could have some issues. It just reacts differently to different websites. So if you, like I said, Chrome is my go-to, but that may be the problem if you're having any issues. So here's where you're going to log in your username and your password. If you forget your password, you can click right here. All right, this forget your password. All you need is your username, which is normally your email address, and you can reset it yourself. Once you've reset your password, you will get an email from IBRC. They run kind of the background of this website for us. You know, they are our computer techie people that help make sure everything runs very smoothly. So if you do get something from them, it is legit. They're just telling you, hey, a new password has been issued. Okay. So you know your password, you know your username, you're going to log in. Once you log in, you're going to see this. All right, so this page is really kind of vitally important so that you know where everything is and how to get to things. So as you can see, there are different agencies such as the Department of Local Government Finance, along with down here, Department of Workforce Development. There are a few more that also use Gateway for their own uses, for their own purposes. What we're going to focus on is obviously ours, which is State Board of Accounts. It's in this maroon box right here. These are the things that we use it for, things that are uploaded. For this presentation, we're going to be focusing on the monthly and annual engagement uploads. So there's a couple other things on this page I want to point out. If you have a question after this is all over, you've watched this video, you've looked through that presentation, you still have a question, maybe I didn't answer something for you, where you could go to look at it is you can go into the user guides. The user guides are a more detailed, involved step-by-step guide in how to do the monthly and annual engagement uploads. To get to these user guides, all you have to do is up here at the top of the screen, click user guides. It has a little circle with a question mark in it. If you click it, it's going to bring you to a page that looks very similar to this. Looks just like this. And these are all the user guides that are available. In this case, again, we're talking about monthly and annual engagement uploads. So you're going to go down there and you're going to click the user guide. This is the user guide for this specific type of upload. Now, I'm not going to go through it completely. It's just a resource for you, but I do kind of want to show you, it is a very, very detailed. I'm going to scroll through it kind of quickly. You can see there are screenshots, walkthroughs. Here it talks about monthly uploads. It goes into detail of what you need to upload. You just need to find county treasurer in this case and go, read those things accordingly. You can scroll all the way through. It does do annual uploads. I mean, it's a very engaged document. At the very, very bottom of this document, already passed it, is frequently asked questions. So questions that are sent into Gateway Help Desk or sometimes to Lori and I, depending. They have been added here if they're very frequent. So take a look at it and see if that doesn't answer the question that you may have when you go in to do your uploads, because Lori and I use this as a resource all the time. It also has this quick kind of link. So if you were really just wanting to know something about the annual uploads, you can just click the annual uploads here and it will take you right to that section so you don't have to scroll through the entire document to find it. So again, just a really good resource. Okay. So now I'm going to take you back to the home page, which is this page again. This is where we kind of started before we went to the user guides. Again, we're doing monthly and annual engagement uploads. There is a details button over here that talks about the deadline, and you're going to see this throughout. You have 2 months, okay? So if you want to kind of come down here and look, January 15th, which was last week, is when the November monthly files were due, okay? So next month will be December's monthly files, and so on. Any annual files that you have are due March 1st, okay? They're due along with, really, with the annual uploads for the county. Okay, so we're going to try and go in here and let's take a look at the monthly and annual engagement uploads. Okay. Once you click that, okay, it's time, we need to do this, you're going to be brought to a screen. Now, your screen will look different than what my screen does. Lori and I do help provide testing situations. So when we're doing this every year, there are kinks that have to be worked out. So we do have, as you can see, test unit links, okay? And so this is kind of what we use. So yours is going to look a little bit different. Really, there probably should only be one. It should have your county, and then next to it say county treasurer, okay? So if you are, Decatur County, it's going to say Decatur County and treasurer. If you're Scott County, and then county treasurer. So once you see that list, you want to make sure and you select the county treasurer. If you don't have county treasurer there, you may need to contact the Gateway Help Desk because they may have given you access to the wrong one. All right, so once you select county treasurer, it will come up here at the top. You need to pick the year in which you are getting ready to upload. So as of right now, we're still uploading 2020's information. Since that, you will select 2020. Okay. And here is what that main monthly upload menu and annual engagement uploads menu will look like. Okay, so we got you here. So now let's talk about what is really required for monthly uploads. We've sort of talked about this a little bit. I'm going to pull this over. One of the things that is, can you see that, Lori? Okay. All right. So is a bank reconcilement. This is, very, very simple. This is something we created. None of these numbers mean anything. Yours is probably going to look way, way more involved in this, depending on the number of bank accounts that you have. But we're really just wanting to see the bank reconcilement every month. That's something that you're going to upload onto into Gateway. Along with this, we want to see the bank statements. So we want to see all your bank statements for the month. Those will be uploaded as well, along with your outstanding checks, which, as you can see on this reconcilement right here, it's $33,208.47. So we want to see the detailed list that makes up that number. That's your outstanding checklist. Remember, your outstanding checklist are checks that have been written but have not cleared the bank. Okay, so that is what we're looking for. Those 3 documents can be uploaded as one, or they can be uploaded separately, depending on what's easier for you. If you are used to just running it together as one thing, and it's just easier to scan it all in as one, that's perfectly acceptable. If they're kind of separate and you want to keep them separate, you can do that as well too. So it's really kind of up to you. Once we have that, the next thing that is required to be uploaded is the Form 47. We're using this as a prescribed form because we prescribe forms for you to use. We understand that you have computer systems and stuff now that take their place, so you may have, I've seen this done like in an Excel sheet that has been locked and all, looks just like this. I've also seen other computer softwares have cash books pages, but this is really, and it's huge. This is really just the prescribed form. So you could have another form that looks very much like this, but it's obviously not going to be a manual form. It's hard to read probably because it is very, very large. If you're familiar with the cash book at all, and you've seen it in person, you're like, oh, especially the big books. I mean, last time I saw a big book, it was pretty tall when you opened it. But this is what we're looking for, because at the end of the day, we want to know that you are reconciling to the cash book, okay? Now, let me move this out of the way. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, the other monthly required upload, is the Form 61. I have gotten so many calls on what is the Form 61. So here is a sample of what it kind of looks like. Sorry, there we go. All right, so the Form 61 is a prescribed form. It's the monthly financial statement, is its prescribed name. This is really something that is done in the treasurer's office and in the auditor's office. It lists all of your funds. It has, the balance and receipts to date, receipts for the month, total balance and receipts. Then it switches over and has your disbursements to date, disbursements for the month, total dispersed, and the total balance for each fund. Now, this itself is not required to be uploaded. What is required to be uploaded is the reconciliation between the auditors and the treasurers, okay? Now, if you don't have a manual Form 61 and you have software, I know for sure that Lau has it. I'm almost positive Harris has it, and I can't think of the other one off the top of my head. So what you would need to do is reach out to your software vendor and say, okay, we have this prescribed form. What form do you have in your software that does exactly the same thing as this Form 61, okay? Once you, oops, sorry.
We had a question. Do you want the cash book for each day of for the last day of the month?
I've seen it done both ways. My computer's frozen. I'm so sorry. I have seen it done both ways. Honestly, if you have the whole month together, that is extremely beneficial for our audit team. When they come in, they're not going to have to ask you for those files. Otherwise, they're going to have to ask you for a file that has all of the days included. Okay. So what I wanted to go over is, like I said, the Form 61 is done by the auditors and the treasurers. Okay. Again, we are referring to the prescribed form, but you may have a computerized form that takes the place of the prescribed form, okay, as an alternative. So what I did is, we live in Pleasant County. I've made this example up. None of these numbers mean anything. We just tried to make it as easy as we possibly could. So for the treasurer's office, you've got a Form 61 here. Okay, you went through it, you've looked at it. The auditor has a Form 61. I'm going to show you again here. The auditor and treasurer got together at the end of the month, and they found some differences in the disbursements and the receipts for the different funds, because you need to reconcile your balances, your receipts, and your disbursements. Okay, so if you've got one fund, like for an example, this MVH is a good one here. We dispersed $3,000 total from them. And if you look at the treasurers over here, it's still $3,000, but there was a transfer that took place in this example that didn't get reflected into the treasurer's ledger. So these are where these reconcilements need to be. This is what we're wanting you to reconcile, okay? Your receipts, your disbursements, and your balances should agree on both sides. So in this example, I've highlighted the differences. For the treasurer, there was a $100 ACH that came in that the auditor didn't get put on their side. So we've identified one. On this side, we had a voided check that happened on the auditor's side, and the treasurer was never informed, so it didn't happen on their side. And again, there was a transfer, as I said here, that just moved between two different funds. It didn't change the balance, but it did change the disbursements and the balance for those two funds. So we've identified that. So now what we want you to upload is the reconcilement. So I created a reconcilement. This is not a prescribed form. There is not one, okay? I did this in a very general basis Okay, so we want to see the work that you have done. So you can create a form that'll work this way. If you do handwritten on your Form 61s and you want to upload that, we just need to be able to see that you reconciled it, okay? In this instance, what I did here is I brought over the auditor's ledger totals at the bottom, and then I did reconciling items. So we talked about that the treasurer had brought in an ACH and the auditor just hadn't recorded it yet. Okay, so I just explained it here and I used that to reconcile, okay? And then to the side, as soon as you find an item that has been reconciled, you need to correct that in the ledger. It's not something you should be carrying forward. So in this case, there was $100 that the auditor had not posted yet as a receipt. So the ACH was posted on 2/6/21 for the auditor. Just wrote it to the side so that it needed to be there, so that we knew it had been done. So same thing with the treasurer. I listed the differences where they needed to be fixed in the disbursements, and then the treasurer had corrected them on their side over here. At the bottom, so once I did that, we compared the numbers. Everything was reconciled. There's no difference. Came down here. I just added this because I think it's a good internal control so that it shows that both the auditor and the treasurer have looked at it. They would sign it. Again, it's Pleasant County, so I just put Pleasant County auditor and treasurer. Something like that instituted would help your internal control process, because if your auditor is the one uploading it, because they're the ones that really handled the reconcilement documentation part of it, we only need it uploaded once. So if they're doing it, you still need to make sure that it's being done, even if you're not the one that's doing it. So this is a good way to say, hey, I've seen it. Some way to put a process in that you know it's happening, okay? And the same thing is if you're the one that's keeping all the documentation of the reconcilement, the auditor should be reviewing it to make sure it gets done, because it is the responsibility of both of you guys to maintain the Form 61 or an alternative form in its place. And so the responsibility of that reconcilement falls on both the auditor and treasurer. We just need it to be uploaded once. If the auditor uploads it and the treasurer does not, then if we go into the uploads and we see that it's not there, it will signal us to go over and look at the auditor's side, and vice versa. Okay. Sorry, I gotta move that. Okay. So those are the monthly uploads. Okay. You got your bank reconcilements, you got your bank statements, you have the outstanding checklist, you have your cash balance report or your cash book, and then you have the documentation of reconciliation for Form 61 between the auditor and the treasurer. You do have an annual upload. And really, this is just your year-end investment statements, okay? So this would be like a statement or documentation that shows the balance of the investment, such as like a CD at the end of the year. If you don't receive a statement at the end of the year, you can upload documents that show when the investment or CD was purchased and the value at the time it was purchased. Okay, so let's do an upload, okay? So you're coming in. The first thing you want to do is, so we're going to go back and say it's January 15th. You got to do November's, okay? So in this case, you got to drop down this menu right here with Select Upload Group. If you're doing the monthly, you need to pick the month that you are uploading, okay? So in this case, if we were doing November, actually, I think I need to do December. I take that back. December. You would select that. That will update this drop-down list for which file type. So if you're doing the bank reconcilements, the bank statements, and the outstanding checks, you need to select this, the first one. Again, you can upload multiple documents here if that's easier for you, or if you have it all together as one document, you can upload it that way, whatever is easiest for you, okay? So once you pick that, you need to choose the file. Make sure you know where you saved it at, because I can't help you there. Okay, once we go there. Okay, so in this case, I have that bank reconcilement we did. We're going to hit open. Once it's there, it should pop up right here. As you can see, now it's there. Once it's there, you have to hit submit. Submit is what actually uploads it. This is just choosing the file. So you click submit. You'll should get a box that says submit was successful. You'll hit OK. And if you scroll down to December, you will see here the bank reconcilement shows up. It is date and time stamped. It does have the email of the person who uploaded it. And if you want to verify whether or not you uploaded the right thing, you can click this right here, this blue arrow pointing down. Maybe it will. Okay, it will download. And if you can see down here at my bottom left hand, it'll allow you to open it. And you can review, okay, that is the bank reconcilement that I meant to upload. Okay. If it's not, you grab the wrong file, you can hit this red X over here and it will delete the upload. Remember, if you delete this upload, then you need to upload something in its place. So the right one if you uploaded the wrong one. Okay. So again, if you were going to come back up here and then you want to do the cash balance report, then you would select cash balance report here. You would again go in and choose your file. In this case, it's the cash book. It'll change. Once it changes, you click submit. You get the drop down. Scroll down to December, and you can see, again, I've uploaded the cash book. So you'll do that all the way down. You'll do the documentation, all of that, okay? Again, you can have multiple documents in here. So like if you were going to do the bank reconcilement separately, I will just upload it again. Make sure you do. It's not the same document several times. But as you can see, I just did the bank reconcilement again, and it will show both of them up here, okay? So now, I saw a question come through, but I can't get to it.
The email address of the elected official, but chief deputy is the one uploading. Can that be changed?
Okay. So when you get access to Gateway, you are the treasurer, so you are given the submitter as what's called submitter. That cannot be changed. You will have to stay the submitter. Okay, that is the elected official. You can delegate access to those in your office that are going to be doing the actual uploads. And so then they can go in and they can actually upload the documents for you. The submitter comes in play here in a little bit when we start talking about direct requests and things like that. But you cannot change the submitter, but you can delegate them edit access to allow them to do the uploads for you. Okay. What I want to point out as well is like up here at the top, you can see that I've got green check marks. Okay, so the green check mark is just saying, okay, you've uploaded something there. It doesn't mean it's the correct thing. It just means it's been something has been uploaded there. The red X's show things that nothing has been uploaded, okay? This does not necessarily attribute to a finding. I want to make sure and stress that because like we said in your guys's, the documentation for reconciliation only has to be done by one of you. So if the auditor does it, you're going to have a red X here. That, again, is just going to signal the field examiners doing the audit to go over and check the auditor's uploads to see if it's there. Now, if neither one of you have uploaded it, that's where an issue might arise, okay? But this does just kind of give you a glimpse of, oh, you know, I haven't uploaded March through November. Oops. Or it hasn't been done, or, you know, or did I do last month? That's really just what that is. It's just kind of a look, okay? Okay. Now, if you are going to upload like your annual investment statement, you're going to hit select upload group. This is not to be done on a monthly. It is your annual. So as you can see, there is an annual place that you can select. It again populates this drop-down menu, which in your case, there's only one, so year-end investment statement. And it's done exactly the same way. You go and you choose a file. In this case, I do not have an example of this, so I'm just going to bring the Form 61 in. And then you will submit. Once you get it successful, this one again is populated inside the annual. So if you go down here to this dark blue headings, right underneath that is where your annual will be submitted, okay? Now, again, as I had talked about, I did talk about the deadline, so you've got about 2 months. So right now, November should have went up by January 15th. February 15th is when December's will be required to be uploaded, okay? And then your annual will be by March 1st. Now I kind of want to talk to you about direct requests, because these are done essentially the same way as your monthly and annual uploads. A direct request is any document that you need to upload in addition to the monthly and annual uploads, okay, that have already been uploaded, I guess I should say. We call them direct request uploads. Sometimes these are, maybe you forgot to put your outstanding checklist from July up there. Field examiners are in there during the audit and they realize they don't have that for some reason. They may send you a direct request asking you to upload it. Okay, so it's a request really from the field staff during the audit. That's when you will be getting it. When we were talking about submitter access, this is where this kind of becomes important. The submitter is always the elected official of the office. So in your case, it will always be the county treasurer. You cannot delegate the submitter access to anyone, okay? It will be you. In this case, it means that if I came in to do your audit and I'm looking and I can't find your bank reconcilement for December and I need to send you a direct request, I will go through the system. I will add this as a direct request. It will be sent to the submitter, okay, which will be the treasurer. So if you are not the one doing the uploads, you need to be in communication with who you've delegated this to so that they know what needs to be uploaded as well. What will happen is once the request is sent, if I can make this so you guys can see it, you will receive an email. I don't know if that's really small or not.
It's a little small. There you go.
Is that a little bit bigger? Okay. So this is really, there you go. So you're going to get an email like this. It's going to tell you what needs to be uploaded. Ignore this. I put supplemental AFR, but that would be, I guess, if you needed to look at it, the field staff couldn't see it, you would upload it then. It is not required to be uploaded in your monthly and annual uploads. That is something that you give to the auditor. But if during the audit itself, the field examiner thinks that would be beneficial or really needs to see what you submitted to them, they may ask that from you. But you'll get an email like this. It'll tell you what is requested. It'll lead you through how to upload it. And what we would ask for you to do is to reach out to your field examiner when you get it, just to acknowledge the receipt of it. Work with them on when you're going to get that information to them. We understand that you have a job to do, and so we want to make sure that we communicate so that they can move on to do other work, but they know that you've seen it. And so that way, if you acknowledge to them, hey, I've got it, and we'll get it to you in a couple days. That is really kind of key here. If you don't know who your field examiner is, you can always reach out to the auditor, and they should have some contact information so that you can get a hold of your field examiner. Do not reply to that email. That email, it really, I don't even know where it goes, but it doesn't go to anybody. It probably just goes in a box someplace and they get collected. So make sure that you reach out to your field examiner themselves. So if you get a direct request and you need to do the upload, you got the email, notified everybody, it's really the same thing. You're going to come to select an upload group. You will have a direct request down here. Okay. Once you do that, it again will populate the file type. And if you remember in that one, I just did a test one, supplemental AFR. It's going to show there. You're going to do it exactly the same way. You're going to choose the file. And again, I don't have a supplemental here. So we'll just do the county form, the cash book form again. Hit open. Once it changes here, you'll hit submit. You should get an OK. And then if you scroll down to the very, well, right now to the very bottom, underneath direct request, it'll show that you have uploaded the document. I do want to point out that, and it could have been fixed by now, but if you scroll to the bottom after doing a direct request and you don't see it down here, sometimes it has been just kind of inserting itself in the middle of the months up there. We're not sure. I know that they were working on that. They weren't sure why that was happening. So if you don't see it down there, just kind of take a glance upward and see if it kind of inserted itself someplace else. If not, just let us know or let Gateway Help Desk know, and we'll try and get that sorted out. So it's really relatively easy to figure out what you need to upload and how you need to do it. Now, while we've done uploads, you can also, there are some selections down here at the bottom, but you can download all the files if you wanted them at once. I think most of our field examiners use that because it's just one download so that we have it. But you can do it too. It's available to anybody. The only thing I will tell you is there are some things that may not apply to you, such as if your county does not do GAP, then this GAP upload will not apply to you. So you can click it, but nothing's going to happen. Okay. So now we've kind of talked about monthly and annual engagement uploads. There's one other thing I want to kind of touch on. We're going to go back to the home screen. Okay. This is that home screen again where you've got the different agencies and tells you what you can upload. The other thing that you might need to have access to as a treasurer is the conflict of interest disclosure, okay? This is a disclosure that's required 15 days after the final action on the contract or the purchase. So, if your husband worked for, I don't know, I'm trying to think, a big company that supplies things and the county entered into a contract with it, that might be something you need to disclose. I don't know, depends. There's lots of things that it could depend on. But you will click on this conflict of interest disclosure, and it's going to bring you to this page. So if you have a conflict of interest disclosure that's needed, and that's all pointed out in the statute in Indiana Code 35-44.1-1-4. There's a link right here. I am not going to click it. For right now, the website has been running relatively slow, and so I don't want to bog us down in that, but it will take you to that statute, allow you to read the requirements of when you're required to disclose, what is required to be a part of the disclosure, and so on. I will say it's always better to err on the side of caution. It's better to disclose something you're not required to than to not disclose something you are. In this case, we do have a form that you can fill out. It's a fillable PDF form. If you click on it here, it will download it for you just like we were doing on the monthly and annual uploads. What's really cool about this form, again, is it's a fillable PDF. It'll open. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. So it does allow you to, type right on it. Okay. You do have to save it. So if you were to fill all this out and then just close it, it will not save. You do have to save it onto your desktop. This is something that you will upload here, and that you will need to provide a copy to your county clerk because they keep it on file as well. Once you fill this out and you have saved it, you will scroll down a little bit here. You will enter this required information, your name, email address, the government entity name, and then you will click here to browse for that saved document, which I don't have here because I didn't save it. Once you do that, you will enter in this code from this image and you will upload it, and that is it. Okay, but everyone is required to, oops, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Putting my email address there. Anyway, you are required to upload your own conflict of interest form and to give a copy to the clerk, okay? Just kind of something we like to kind of go over with you guys. Last but not least, I'm going to bring this over, maybe. I apologize, my computer is being very, very slow. All right, this is our contact information. If you have any questions, email us, give us a phone call. We'll help you the best we can with what's uploaded. Sometimes when people are uploading, especially when a change has occurred, we've had several reached out to us and said, I've uploaded, but I'm not sure that's what you need. Lori and I can go in on the back side and look at what you have uploaded and tell you whether or not it's correct or not, or if that's what we think we're wanting. We can't tell you if the numbers are correct. We can only tell you if that's the document we're looking for. Okay, so if you have any questions like that, feel free to give us a call. All right, now I can just stop sharing. We can take some questions. Did that stop sharing?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to, if you're able, I'm going to take, I think Cindy's got a question. She's got her hand up. Okay, I'm going to give you control of your microphones and your cameras like we've done in the past. Feel free to ask any questions. If you would prefer to keep it in the chat box, you can ask in the chat box. We just ask that you try not to talk over each other and, let me know what you got. Trying to close some stuff. Anybody? Cindy, you've got your hand up. Do you have a question? Yes, thank you.
Are there any questions on any of the forms that you have that you have to upload, what they are?
So it's clear as clear can be. Normally the form 61.
61 question mark. Yeah, that's
right, Elaine.
Everybody's question.
What's your specific question, Elaine? Okay, is there a copy someplace? This is something that you would get from your print vendor if you were doing a manual form. I can send you that sample one if you're just wanting to see something to ask your software vendor for. If you want to, you could, if you can send me an email so I have your email right away, I can copy that in and send it to you. How about anybody else? Again, you do have control over your mics. You can turn your cameras on if you have cameras. If not, that's okay. If you have a microphone, you could, it says, I don't have a mic.
She need a sign in.
I need a sign in for Gateway. Okay, so Cindy, what you're going to do is you are going to email Gateway. I'm going to put it right here in the chat box. Okay, oops. There we go. Sorry. All right. gateway@sboa.in. Okay. All right, so I just sent the email address to everybody. That is the Gateway Help Desk. If you do not have access in it and you need to get your login information, email them, give them your name, when your term started, what county you're from, and the position you're in. So for you guys, treasurer, and then the previous treasurer's name, when their term ended, and if you know their email account. Okay, that will help them so that they can change access over to you. You're very welcome. Anything else? Anybody else?
And it is very possible, we know that Lowe does this, there is a report it generates where it compares the auditor and treasurer's funds ledger, and some people just do the reconciliation on that report. So check with your software vendors. There may be a report you're not aware of. Hopefully you are. Hopefully your predecessor treasurer was doing this with the auditor and you have some records to look at. But if not, check with your vendor. There may be a report that exists that compares the two. You still have to do the work. So you could have, all it's going to do is tell you when it doesn't line up, and so you're going to have to research and determine why. Just like Ricky was showing you on that Excel, that we missed a void or a transfer or something like that, and how that was corrected.
Yes, and we got lots of questions on this from the auditors when we gave the same presentation to them. It does not have to be that form that I created. I was just trying to give you guys something very simple to see, but I do want to emphasize that you have to reconcile receipts, disbursements, and balances, okay? So, again, whatever works for your county. So it could be different county across county. You could also ask another county how they're doing it. Maybe there is something out there that's super helpful. I really don't know. Anybody else? I will say another thing. I did get a question. I've actually received it a couple times, and I think I stated it, but just to be clear, you guys should be working on, if you haven't already, working on filling out your supplemental annual financial report. This is kind of a little piece of paper. There is a link to a blank one on our website. This is something that you will give to your county auditor. It is not something that is required to be uploaded in Gateway, okay? So just in case you see that, that's not a monthly or annual upload for you guys. I know we see annual financial report up there, and that gets kind of confusing, but you don't have to upload anything in that area. That is strictly the auditors, for the auditor to do. So once you give it to them, they will include that with all the financial reporting information of the county and upload it as one big file.
And we do have a training next Tuesday on completing it if you have any questions about your supplemental annual financial report.
Absolutely. What was it called? The supplemental annual financial report. Sometimes the old ones say supplemental CAR when it used to be called the county annual report. But it's the same thing. I don't know if I can get the link quickly. I might be able to. I can put the link in the chat. Actually, I don't know that I can.
It's a download, so I don't think
it's a download. That's what I was just thinking. I don't think it's going to be like
that. You can get to the county's page and scroll down to the Gateway section, and there's a link to the form itself that you can download. It's in Excel.
Yeah, so let's try this. Okay. If you can see this page here, this is the county's website. I got to it from our homepage, political subdivisions. I selected counties. Once you're here, up at the top, it's got all the newly elected stuff that you've been gathering. If you scroll down further, there's a gateway right here. Click that AFR right here, down here, supplemental annual report. If you click that, it will download for you, okay? It's just a blank copy. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay. Well, you guys are lucky to hear that. I've done that 4 times. Sometimes, I get, you kind of get into, I think, did I say that? Did I not say that? So hopefully you got all the information that you need. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to us. But if you don't, we can let you go for wait. What if the county does not have investments for the investment upload? Then you wouldn't upload anything. And if anything, any question that would come, they used to have one, and I'm not sure. I know on board minutes it has something, but I don't know. Let me check real quick. You did the annual. No, it doesn't have an option. So you just wouldn't submit anything for that time if you don't have any kind of investments. And then it'll still show like a red X on the side, but all you would need to do is just the field staff asked you, just say we didn't have any investments at year end. Okay. Give it a few more seconds. Any other questions? I so wish we were doing this in person.
It'd be easier.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any other questions, we will let you go for today. But again, email, phone call, we're here. One of us will be able to help you. If it is trying to get your pass order stuff, we can't help you do that. So again, you do need to hit the Gateway Help Desk. But if you have questions on what you're uploading and what we're looking for, go ahead and give Lori and I a call, and we'll walk you through the process again. But don't forget, you have your user guide. You will have this recording after today, and you will have the presentation that has screenshots on it as well. So hopefully that'll be able to answer most of your questions. But please do not hesitate. We can't say it enough. Like, if you just feel like you're a little overwhelmed with this and you have all of it and you just want somebody to talk to about it, call Lori and I. We'll be more than happy. Okay? One step at a time. Okay. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in today. We hope that you learned something and that it's valuable information. And I don't know off the top of my head when the
next Tuesday, supplemental AFRs.
There you go.
Don't want to miss it.
That's right. A little plug there. So if you need the schedule of sessions that has that link, it is up on our website. So feel free to go and download that. But other than that, I guess we will see you guys next Tuesday. All right. Have a wonderful week and afternoon.